Welcome back. Today is World Diabetes Day, and according to the World Health Organization, nearly 830 million people across the world suffer from diabetes. Out of that, more than 38 million people live here in the U.S. Joining me now to talk more about this is Dr. Archana Sadhu with Houston Methodist Hospital and Dr. Tracy Clark, a diabetes patient. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so doctor, one thing that we said this morning was that there are a lot of people who may not even realize that they have diabetes. Are we talking pre-diabetes, or how could you have it and not know?
Well, currently, this is brand new data, 16% of the U.S. adult population has diabetes.
16%.
But 4.5% are undiagnosed. So for these patients, it's important to know what the symptoms are. And then there's a whole host of patients behind them, unfortunately, with pre-diabetes that may not even have symptoms. And that's what we want to focus on today in World Diabetes Day, is to make people aware of their risk for diabetes and to get tested so that they can intervene early and prevent the complications of diabetes.
Because before I ask Dr. Clark a little bit about his experience, just tell me real quick, I mean, what might some of those symptoms be if I have diabetes? I mean, am I just attributing some of these symptoms to, I don't know, getting older? Or, I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Well, these are very classic symptoms of diabetes if you are full into the diagnosis. And they are frequent thirst, frequent urination, fatigue, and even weight loss, because you're losing a lot of sugar and calories through the urine. And so if you're having any of these and you have someone in the family with diabetes, for sure go and get tested.
So that is a big, the genetic, like having somebody in your family who had it. Dr. Clark, tell us about your experience of living with diabetes. When were you diagnosed? How did you become aware of it?
Yes, I've been diabetic for 40 years.
Okay.
And so in my early to mid 20s, I was diagnosed with diabetes while I was in dental school, of all things. And I remember being very nervous about it. And I was in the healthcare field. I understood the disease, so I can really empathize with patients now who are, who are learning about it for the first time. And at the time, we took oral medications, which worked well, but that was provided I was doing all the exercise and the correct diet all the time. And like most people, that didn't always happen. And over time, I transitioned to insulin, and that was a concern to me. I was worried about that, as a lot of people are. And I found out, though, that it was really great for me. It worked great for me, much more effective than oral medications had done over there. And but it did come with the issues of having to give yourself injections and to carefully monitor your dose. So there were challenges over there. Yes.
So still to this day, you give yourself insulin injections?
Well, I don't, and that's because about 13 years ago, I needed a kidney transplant, and I received a wonderful transplant from Methodist Hospital and their program. At that time, I met Dr. Sadhu and her great team at Methodist over there in endocrinology. Wow. And she introduced me to the insulin pump. The insulin pump really changes your life over there because in conjunction with what they call the continuous glucose monitor, you're able to, it acts like a pancreas for you. So it essentially was able to give me needleless injections of insulin. And more importantly, it was able to adjust automatically my insulin dosage for not only the times that I was really compliant with diet and exercise, but also the times when, like during the holidays, you're not as watching your diet and exercising as much as you can.
Like Thanksgiving and everything coming up. So so I was going to say, so controlling, I understand that some people, is this not true, can actually reverse or at least make it to where you don't have to rely on insulin by changing their lifestyle?
So it depends. It depends on what type of diabetes you have. So there's different kinds, and there's a big distinction between type 1 diabetes and type 2 or medication-induced diabetes. So in type 1 diabetes, you have to have insulin to survive because your body makes none of it. So in that diagnosis, insulin is a must always. In type 2 diabetes, there's multiple reasons for high blood glucose, and that includes genetics, but also what you eat, how physically fit you are, how active you are, your weight. So if you intervene on those other issues, you can certainly reduce your treatment burden.
Yeah, a lot of information, and I know there are a lot of people who don't understand, including myself, all of the different types of diabetes. But so you would encourage people, especially if they're experiencing any of the symptoms that you mentioned, to go see their doctor.
Especially when you have symptoms, but also when you don't and you have these risk factors. Because again, we want to intervene very early, and that is the pre-diabetes stage. So if you are overweight, or if you have a family history, you want to get tested even earlier than when you have symptoms. By the time you have symptoms, we're also too far along into the disease process.
Got it. All right. Well, Dr. Sadhu, Dr. Clark, thank you both so much for coming in and sharing this information. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Justin's going to have a look at your forecast for the day. It's looking lovely.
This is a KPRC2 News Update.
Good morning. I'm Amy Davis on KPRC2 and the KPRC2 Plus live stream. We want to start with meteorologist Justin Stapleton.
All right, thank you very much, Amy. Let's take a peek outside. Look at this beautiful looking start to our day from downtown. A lot of sunshine too. Temperatures a little cooler. In fact, we just lost our sensor there. It's in the mid 50s. Trust me. There we go. We've got 48 in Conroe, 54 out towards Brenham, mid upper 50s across much of downtown, and mid 60s at the coast. This afternoon is going to be spectacular. We'll be up to around 74, which is about where we should be this time of year. A couple of fronts coming through. This one that came through last night, keep us comfortable into the weekend. The next one, Monday, Tuesday, will bring in some storms. But look at that, 50s and 40s by next Thursday, Amy.
Man, weather is looking good. We'll even take those showers if it means the cool down. Hey, looking at your traffic at 7:56 this morning, it is slow. It's going to take you an hour coming in from Katy down I-10, taking you 43 minutes coming up 288 from Pearland. So give yourself some extra time. A local Houston restaurant is showing off its new brunch menu. Coming up at 8 on the KPRC2 Plus live stream, we're talking with the owner and chef of Rumi's Kitchen on the restaurant's rich history and unique menu. Take us with you if you're on the go. If you want to listen to that interview and more, you can do that by downloading our free KPRC2 Plus app. You can listen just like a podcast while you're on your morning commute. KPRC2 Plus now at 8 is next.
Welcome into the 8 o'clock hour of KPRC 2 Plus Now. We begin with a live look from outside Harvard Elementary School in the Heights, where a lot of parents are concerned about staffing changes they're calling a game of musical chairs. These changes have plagued this school within HISD for weeks now. Only on 2 we're hearing for the first time from a former HISD leader who says he left the district because of the changes under the new education system, his experience, and his take on what's taking shape. And a chilly start to the morning. Check it out. Most of us, well, some of us, wow, look at some up in Livingston, they're waking up to temps in the 40s, 49 degrees in Livingston. The rest of us mostly in the 50s, some of us now in the 60s. Have we seen the last of the 80s? That's the big question. Meteorologist Justin Stapleton is joining us now. We're going to get on over to him right now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zach. Now we've got a few 80s out there, but I think in terms of the blazing heat, we're done. This is
nice.
Next cold front coming in, I think really changes the pattern, and we'll go into finally a fall-like pattern. So I'll show you more coming up here throughout the hour. Right now, though, into downtown, we've got a nice forecast. We're at 61 with a north-northwest wind at around 8 miles an hour and the humidity at about 58%. This number is going to probably drop into the 30s today, so it will definitely be very nice, dry, comfortable afternoon. I expect it to be a great one. So hopefully you get a chance to get out and enjoy it. As Zach mentioned, up near Lake Livingston, they're in the upper 40s right now. Everybody else anywhere from the mid 50s to low 60s. Down at the coast, we're sitting at 65. Very comfortable start in Galveston. And for today, we'll get up to around 72 to 74 degrees. That's right about where we should be this time of year, and about 10 degrees cooler than what we saw yesterday, which was mid 80s, almost near record-setting highs, and we just don't want any more of that. High pressure is going to dominate the weather pattern for us here in Texas over the next couple of days. Meanwhile, over towards the east, this is where that front moved through. It didn't bring us any rain, but actually it's grabbed onto a couple of areas of low pressure and is producing some pretty good showers and thunderstorms across much of the eastern seaboard here, and a little bit of sleet, some frozen precipitation, trying to mix in a little bit of a wintry slushy mix there up into the mountains towards Cumberland Gap, out in Maryland, for example, and probably out around Asheville, Boone, North Carolina as you get into the higher Appalachians there. Pretty nice forecast for those folks as well, as they're finally starting to see a little bit of late fall, early winter time here. So future track wise, let's take it through this afternoon. We'll top out right around between 72 and 74 degrees, a very comfortable forecast. And then going into tonight, tomorrow, similar to what we saw this morning, even cooler. I think we're going to see widespread mid upper 40s to low 50s across the board. Yeah, so it's going to be a very cool start to our Friday. Bright Friday afternoon. That should put us into the upper 60s to low 70s, so very comfortable forecast. And we're going to do the same thing as we get in towards the weekend. So I think weekend games, we've got a lot of local kickoffs, just a tad warmer, but still overall a very, very comfortable forecast, including who we're going to talk to in just about, 30 minutes here, Zach, right? Our own Haley Hernandez,
yes,
who's out at the Nutcracker. Pop the Prosecco, baby. It's going to be great tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday as well. Go get those deals. It is going to be a perfect weekend for what is really quite a unique experience. If you're new to town or if you've never been to the Nutcracker, it is quite a sight. And I'll just leave it at that because I know we're going to talk to Haley here in a little bit.
Yeah, we were chatting about it earlier, right? Calling it a winter wonderland of sorts.
Yeah. Oh, what would you call it? You said it's like going into a snow globe. Yeah, it's a great description.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like.
Okay, mister. Thank you very much.
You bet.
It is 8:04. Remember, you can stay up to date on our forecast by staying weather aware. All you have to do is scan that QR code you see there on your screen to download our KPRC2 Storm Tracker app. It's free, folks. You can also search KPRC2 in your app store. This morning, a former HISD principal speaks exclusively with KPRC2. Teachers struggling through constant changes in teaching styles and administrators reluctant to talk, afraid of losing their jobs. This is according to the former principal. This morning, he's opening up about his experience. Our Brittany Jeffers joins us live from outside Harvard Elementary with this update. Brittany, did the principal say why he wanted to come forward at this time publicly?
Yeah, and he is a former principal. He also has a child that goes to school here at Harvard Elementary School, and he says he was nervous to speak out about this at first, but he said he felt like it was very important to do so. He says he's calling the change constant turmoil, and he says that he fears that this is going to be something that affects the children.
It's very nerve-wracking. The intimidation is real.
So Sean Tellez plans to go to the HISD board meeting tonight to show support. As I mentioned, he is a parent. He is also a former principal in the district. He says he's calling for more accountability, transparency, and a review of district leadership.
I was at Love Elementary last year. I chose to voluntarily leave the district in March, and unfortunately I was facing a lot of the same issues and pressures that Dr. Calabrese had been facing here at Harvard. So I definitely wanted to speak, and one of the big things that really motivated me was just the lack of professionalism that Central Division has shown.
So again, he says he will be at that board meeting tonight. We know that takes place at 5 o'clock. There is going to be a portion of public comment available for people to be able to speak, but there's also a section that will be closed session. And we were going through the agenda for the evening, and it says that they will be discussing, in part, considering and approving proposed appointments, reassignments, and proposed terminations. So again, we will be following this very closely all day parts, all of our different newscasts. So of course, we'll keep you up to date and to let you know what happens this evening. Zach.
Yeah, a lot to unpack. Brittany Jeffers live for us this morning outside Harvard Elementary in the Heights. Brittany, thank you. Over in Fort Bend County, the district there is calling for parents and students to speak up after 3 staff members at 3 different elementary schools are under investigation for what it calls inappropriate conduct. The district did not provide additional details as to what this means. We do know the 3 staff members work at Goodman Elementary, Colony Bend Elementary, and Quail Valley Elementary. In the past week, all 3 have been placed on administrative leave. Parents at Quail Valley received the shocking email saying allegations of inappropriate conduct by a staff member were brought to the district's attention. Since being placed on administrative leave, the staff member resigned, but the vague email left parents with a lot of questions.
In case our children are afraid to talk to us about something, that happened, we can talk to them about it and let them know, it's okay to come to us and so on and so forth. But the school didn't really give a whole lot of information.
I would love for them to get to the bottom of it, to know exactly what happened.
The district encourages students or anyone with any information about inappropriate conduct to contact Fort Bend ISD or Crime Stoppers. A man has been arrested in connection to a series of sexual assaults on the city's north side. Denzel Sneed is behind bars this morning, charged with burglary with intent to commit sexual assault. Houston police saying the 29-year-old has been connected to 2 of 5 incidents in the West Gulf Bank area. This map right here you see there on your screen, this shows the 4 apartment complexes where those crimes took place. Sneed has been charged in the incident back in August and the most recent crime from last week. Police add the community should remain vigilant. They believe there's a second suspect who's still on the run. We do have a photo of the man HPD believes is linked to 3 sexual assaults in October. Denzel Sneed, again, seen here walking on this surveillance video. This was taken on November 8th, casually walking before he attacked a mother and ran off. This, according to police. Tondre Cole lives in the area. Her biggest concern is her 3 daughters.
I have teenage daughters and 1 young adult daughter, and a lot of times she's out at nighttime. So, hey, now I'm going to tell her, nope, don't stop and get gas at night. Don't leave at night because it's dangerous out here.
Our victims in these cases are Hispanic women. We don't know if targeting that community factors into the motive for these crimes.
HPD tells us an additional charge is expected to be filed against Sneed for aggravated sexual assault. Sneed is expected to appear in court later this morning. Investigators believe there could be more victims out there. They're asking people with information to please come forward. A Houston-based defense attorney is accused of smuggling drug-laced papers into the Harris County Jail. 39-year-old Hunter Simmons is charged with engaging in organized criminal activity and bringing a prohibited substance into a correctional facility. According to Harris County Sheriff's Office, Simmons would deliver paper sheets laced with synthetic marijuana to clients who are currently behind bars. Investigators say Simmons also had help delivering the drugs behind bars. Both 40-year-old Tanisha Butler and 22-year-old Joshua Piper also charged in the case. Bond for both Simmons and Butler was set at $70,000 each. We do want to show you video from PC Court. This was from overnight. That is Joshua Piper there appearing before a judge. Piper had his bond set at $50,000. Again, this took place late last night. If found guilty, all three face between 2 and 20 years in prison. You can stay up to date on these stories and other breaking news situations by downloading the Click to Houston app. You can do so a few different ways. One, by scanning the QR code you see there on your screen, or heading on over to your app store to search KPRC2. Click 2. Remember to turn on breaking news alerts to get instant notifications on the stories that matter most to you. It is 8:11. On our Thursday morning, a look at our drive times right now. Most of us seeing a slow start to the day. If you're coming in from Baytown, you're in the yellow this morning with a 31-minute commute along I-10. The Katy Freeway will take you about 59 minutes. And if you're coming in from League City, that's looking like a 37-minute commute. Okay, for drivers out there on 610, this is at Lockwood. You can see it appears to be a disabled car there. Two cars, actually. Yes, you see the two cars there, a white car and then a dark colored sedan. This is just a crash, folks. If you are driving in this area or if you have loved ones in this area, know that there could be some slowdowns for people taking this route to or from work this morning. It is, again, 8:12. We're going to take a short break. We'll see you back here in just a minute. 8:15, welcome back. One of the best parts of this city's culture is the food. If you're looking for a new brunch spot, Rumi's Kitchen in the Galleria area is launching a Persian-inspired brunch menu. Joining me live in Studio A this morning is Chef Ali Mezgali, the owner of Rumi's Kitchen, and culinary director Drew Metzger. Good morning to you both. Thank you so much for being here. It smells amazing. It looks wonderful. Talk to us about this menu.
Sure, Drew, why don't you go ahead and tell us about what we have here on the table?
All right, so what we try to do is a complete spread from all over the Middle East. So we have things from Turkey, Iran, a little bit of Israeli influence as well. So I'll walk you through here. Start with our bread basket. So we have sangak bread, homemade Jerusalem bagel, and then our version of a Southern drop biscuit. It's going to be a za'atar and feta biscuit. It's our little twist on it. Working our way over here, we have fresh sabzi plate. So sabzi means herbs in Farsi. So this is something that, you know, if you come in, it's one of the first things that hit the table, and it's just like our welcome to the table. Right here, we have an alluvier salad. So it's going to be a chicken, egg, and potato salad. Lots of pickled vegetables, some roasted tomato, and fresh pita bread that we made a version of toast with. We have our zabuton steak and eggs. So shishito, an onion, roasted potato, zabuton American Wagyu, and then a turmeric fried egg. Again, coming back to our biscuits, we have a lamb sausage gravy on top of those Southern za'atar feta biscuits. And then, you know, a lot of places tried. I think that we did the best out there with our shakshuka, poached eggs, and then a little bit of fresh herbs on top. And then over here we have our burek. So it's going to be a lamb stuffed pastry. And then a bunitsa, which is a feta and phyllo dough pastry for you know, that sweeter side that we wanted to offer. So
my goodness, it all looks amazing. The presentation is beautiful. Talk to us about where the inspiration, the idea came from. One, to launch this menu, but also to the roots of the restaurant.
So we started a restaurant in 2007 back in Atlanta. I grew up in California, and I bought stables like anybody who just, you know, came to the States. And I always had the dream that one day I'm going to open my own restaurant. It took a little journey, and then once I went to Atlanta, we opened our first restaurant, Rumi's Kitchen. And then it expanded. We have 3 locations in Atlanta, location in Washington, D.C., Houston. Next year, we're opening in L.A. And the idea of brunch, I mean, Houston, people go out to brunch all the time, so we came up with a menu to just start our brunch. This weekend will be actually our first week that we're going to go live for brunch.
That's really incredible. And for people wondering where to start, where do you begin on a menu like this?
Ooh, if I was a guest, first time coming in, I'm definitely starting with a biscuits and gravy. That's just my personal favorite thing to kind of warm myself up for the rest of the meal. And then my absolute favorite thing on the menu, and I've heard this a lot of compliments out of our Atlanta location that runs brunch, the zabuton and eggs. That's like the creme de la creme of what I would say. If anybody comes in, what's the one thing I gotta have? It's this plate right here. I'm from the Midwest originally, so steak and potatoes is kind of where my heart is, you know.
Staple, right?
And this is you know, near and dear to me for sure.
Of any meal, I'll tell you what, Atlanta and those folks up in D.C., they know how to brunch. Their brunch has become an all-day thing. Will this menu be seasonal?
Not really. We might add stuff and maybe take off and stuff, but this is a standard menu that we have it. Most of the ingredients we have, you can get it all season long. We do have stuff on our regular menu that's seasonal that we take off from the menu when it's not in the season. But these items are mostly, you can get it in any season.
Something I can attest to Ali is he's going to push us all the time. And I definitely can see us broadening this eventually. But, you know, for now, I think we're really proud of what we've put together.
Before I let you go, I'm just curious, from your perspective, obviously Houston, especially of recent years, is really known for the culinary scene, right? The culinary scene that's taken off here. When you look at your other restaurants across the country, where does Houston stack up to that list?
You know, I was talking to some of the guests that come at Houston. It's been amazing. What it took us 10 years to achieve in Atlanta, we did it in our first year in Houston. I mean, I am beyond
a true testament to the folks
people
here.
Of Houston. I mean, it's beyond grateful for what has happened in Houston.
One last time, where can folks go to enjoy these delicious
1801 Post Oak Boulevard, Rumi's Kitchen, and come see us. Brunch rolling out this weekend.
Awesome. Well, we so much appreciate you waking up early and coming on the morning show.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for your time. It is 8:20. We're going to take a short break. We'll see you back here in a few minutes. Welcome back. 8:22 here in Houston, 9:22 in Washington, D.C. A live look out over the White House this morning. The roster on President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet continues to grow. This after Trump met with President Joe Biden in the Oval Office on Wednesday. Republican Representative Matt Gaetz is the former president's pick to serve as U.S. Attorney General in his upcoming administration. The New York Times is reporting this morning a House ethics panel was set to vote to release a report critical of Gaetz after investigating him for sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Gaetz resigned his House seat yesterday after word of the impending nomination was revealed. Once he is formally nominated, Gaetz will need approval from the Senate.
It would be like the understatement of the year to say that this is an unconventional pick. This is a provocative pick of a provocateur who has himself faced a lot of legal trouble and is highly polarizing, not just among whatever the American people or Congress, but inside the Republican Party himself.
Gaetz has accused the Justice Department of being weaponized under President Biden and called for abolishing the department and also the FBI. Student engagement is a big concern for teachers, with many believing traditional classroom settings aren't keeping students focused. Now, districts are turning to new design solutions that offer flexibility and creativity in the classroom. Our Rochelle Turner joins us live in Studio A with a look at how these new innovative spaces are making a difference for these students and even teachers, Rochelle.
Zach, that's right. Good morning to you. Schools across the country are embracing innovative classroom designs to tackle engagement issues. Now they're using KI's flexible furniture, modular desk, and interactive spaces that make it easy for teachers to change the layout based on the day's lesson. I spoke one-on-one with a former educator who now works with KI, and she explained how their goal is to promote innovative learning.
Welcome, first of all, to KI's space. And this section right here is our learning zone section. So we're trying to showcase how in classrooms you can have tables that push together for collaboration. You can have the area where you can do more maker space and labs and the fun experiments and things.
That's Emily McGinnis. She gave me a tour of KI model classrooms and explained how classroom design can impact student learning.
We've totally changed where kids are getting a chance to move and feel comfortable in their seat. Because think about it, they're in that space all day. And, you know, they need to feel comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you're not engaged and you're not learning.
Absenteeism is really big now in education. Kind of talk about some of the challenges not only schools here in Texas are facing, but schools across the nation.
Yeah, so my background, I was a teacher and principal for a lot of years, and you know, absenteeism was still kind of a problem then, but it has just really almost doubled in some areas, and a lot of it is, you know, kids don't feel like they have a space or they belong.
With unique learning zones like this, sensory-friendly seating, and innovative layouts, these spaces are helping schools reimagine what education can look like for every child. The goal, to help students feel in control and stay engaged while learning.
Especially after COVID and the pandemic, they were at home learning. So we're trying to create spaces that feel more safe and comfortable and inviting, and trying to make learning fun again. You know, it's lost a lot of the joy.
Now, KI is showcasing their designs to districts this week during a conference at the George R. Brown Convention Center. They've already helped countless schools here in Texas and across the nation and hope to continue expanding their impact. Zach?
Yeah, really cool stuff. Cool stuff for these students, but also for their educators as well. Okay, Rochelle, thank you very much. Happening today, City Council plans to tackle a growing problem in downtown Houston, homelessness. The Homeless Coalition, the Housing Authority, and Homeland Security make up the team. Houston Mayor John Whitmire says will help execute a plan that includes caseworkers who will focus on mental health issues. City Council members will vote to give funding to begin construction for this center that'll provide housing for people with substance use disorders. It's part of our history. Every Houstonian knows it. Every Houstonian loves it. Yes, we're talking about the Astrodome. And yes, it could be getting a new look. A bold new plan, Vision Astrodome, is set to revitalize the iconic structure. It aims to transform it into a global entertainment destination. The plan envisions a total of 450,000 square feet of revenue-generating space under the dome's famous roof, which has been empty for 15 years. The plan includes a flexible event arena at the center with new buildings for restaurants, shops, offices, and hotel space. The design also features a Highline-inspired boulevard connecting visitors to neighboring facilities, along with expanded parking and service areas. The project is set to cost somewhere in the range of $1 billion. Before we head to break, we want you to check this out. We are live this morning at the annual Nutcracker Market, one of the city's most beloved traditions. Coming up in just a few minutes, our Haley Hernandez is live taking us behind the scenes with some of the cool and exciting things you can do. We're back in just a moment.